Good morning, good morning, good morning, and Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Tracy Shea Porter. Welcome, Tracy, to the Say Yes Movement podcast, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Heather. I'm so happy to be here. And what could be better than to be a part of your Say Yes movement as we start the new year?
Isn't that the truth? You are actually our first guest on the podcast, and we've been gone since mid-December. So, Tracy, I am so excited to have you, and I want to introduce you to our audience. And myself and Tracy, we actually have met through a mastermind group that's built in Toronto. The mastermind group is called Wayfinders. And, this is really important because I know that it's not always easy to meet new people, but when you meet people under the understanding that we share the same values, then you're like, wow, I need to know this person. So Tracy, when me and you met, we both went wow, because I have the Say Yes Movement podcast and you have the Yes and business, and we're like, whoa, wait a minute, we're like, we need to know each other. So for everyone out there, Tracy is the CEO and co-founder of Yes Unlimited. And what is the Yes Unlimited? Well, it is a company that does extensive experiential learning for the business world, bringing business and improv together and doing training and designing experiential things that will help build communication skills. You know what, Tracy, actually, I'll let you talk about your business the best. So, why would someone want to bring improv into business? And tell us a little bit about Yes Unlimited.
I love that question. And thanks for asking that because, when you think of improv, Heather, what do you think? Like just a word that comes to mind for you when you think about
Comedy.
improv? Comedy, right?
Yeah.
Right. And, it might be Second City or Whose Line Is It Anywhere, or, that sort of thing. And it turns out that improv, the fundamentals of improv, like active listening, yes, and working as a team, translate beautifully into non-performance improv. So we work actually with leaders and teams for team building, helping develop thinking on your feet skills, confidence and collaboration. Just like those are just a few of the things. And, so what we do is called applied improvisation. And companies, it's really a movement around the world on its own, the yes and movement. It's like we both have, yes is a big movement.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And I'll tell you, for anyone out there listening and you're thinking improv and business, how do those go together? I'll tell you, I would say my secret weapons is learning the improv skills. And Tracy, I can't wait to actually come and do one of your workshops because I know the power of being able to think on your feet quickly, not let your ego get in the way. And that's sort of, you got to get loose and everything when you're doing improv. And, realizing that you just want to make an impact on those around you. And I know I know a little bit about yes and it's really, don't cut people off, don't stop the flow of conversation. Let's actually add on to the flow of conversation. And in any, team meetings, town hall presentations that you're doing at work, conversations with people, or asking questions and getting curious, all land on those types of skills. So, I just love this concept of bringing that into corporations, into leaders, and giving them that skill. And I'll tell you, Tracy, like this podcast actually, I would say is like my training ground for improv because we don't script this. It's all live. And we're gonna actually, I think you said we're gonna play together today. So I can't wait for that. We're gonna try some on. So if you're listening, well, you're going to see what it looks like in action. Yeah. So I have a question for you, Tracy, and I also have a question for all of our audience. Today is Celebration Friday, and the reason we celebrate on Fridays is our brains can easily look for all of the things that are going wrong in life. but we have to train it to look for the things that are going good. And so we have to take a moment to just take a deep breath and celebrate the things that we've done differently. So if you have a celebration and you'd love to share it, we'd love to see it in the comments. You know that we celebrate with you and for you. So for our audience, please put your comments in there. But Tracy, what are you celebrating this week?
Well, Heather, after the holidays and, all the overindulging and family events, I'm celebrating my return to yoga.
Ooh.
Right. I love yoga, and yoga keeps me, feeling grounded and good, stretching the body and moving the body. Such a key thing, right?
You tell us more about moving the body, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this is an underrated thing, and I know that it's part of improv as well, getting your whole body into the thing. What do you know that this is so powerful for?
Yeah, what's really interesting about your state, and improv does come into this. You might be feeling a certain way. Maybe you're feeling a little off or disgruntled, or you have an annoyance. And so moving your body through improv, through yoga, through walking, dancing, all the things can shift your state really simply and easily. So one of the things I say to people when they're working, take that moment to stand up and shake. Or for me, if you can get out and get to a yoga class, yoga can ground you and get your mind, as you said earlier, out of that thinking state and into the present moment, because that's where you want to be, and the improv takes you there too.
I love that. You're so right. If you're sitting at your desk all day and you're like, oh, stuff's starting to not feel so good, just put some good music on and get yourself up and get dancing. And, that's part of, my preparation even for coming on camera, right? Like we did a little movement jiggle together because we know that movement is so powerful. So Tracy, I love that celebration. And, for me, this week has been really, really amazing. I actually have been meeting a whole bunch of new people this week. And in one of the situations that I was in, I actually got to walk down a red carpet this week, and not a real red carpet, not like the Golden Globes or anything, but it doesn't matter. A red carpet is a red carpet. It counts. And so I got to walk down this red carpet and be celebrated and celebrate with others. And there's something really powerful around the art of just walking down. It's the same place that I walk all the time, but you put a red carpet down and all of a sudden it has a different meaning, and that meaning comes to life. So that's what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating that people, are coming together. Now we're back into the workforce. People are coming together and celebrating successes and spending the time doing that. And we know that that is super, super powerful. So again, for our audience, if anyone has anything to celebrate this week, we want to hear and we want to celebrate with you, because this is so, so important. And especially right now, if you live in Ontario where we live, we haven't seen the sun for a little while. It's been quite gloomy. So we have to create our own sunshine. Now, Tracy, you have something pretty exciting happening next week. Why don't you tell us about that?
I do. And I'm launching my first book.
That is so exciting. Congratulations.
I even have the proof copy.
Oh my goodness, it's real. It's in your hand. So tell us about this book. Sorry, hold it up again. It's called what? Go ahead.
It's the Yes and Business Evolution, Improv Skills for Leadership and Life.
Ooh.
And Heather, I have to tell you, this really was a birthing experience, because, a lot of the book was written through COVID, and so much was happening to all of us. We all have our stories of what happened during COVID, and I think it was kind of a North Star for me, to keep focused and working on that. And it is great to have a project, right? And this was something that I was creating, and kept me kind of focused on, how I could help support people, new hybrid workplace, and individuals as we come forth now, out in public, getting together again, which is still something that we're all adjusting to, because our nervous systems have been so impacted, right?
Yeah. So, who's this book for? Who
Right.
should grab a copy of it? And it's not out yet, but there is a way to get on the advanced copy list. Yes.
Yes, actually, I'm going to release a digital copy Monday, and I'm going to provide a link to you for all your readers to have a complimentary digital copy.
Wow. Wow. Oh my God, Tracy, that is so fantastic. And for all of you listening out there, that is quite a gift, because writing a book and sharing your thoughts is a labor of love. I'll tell you, every book is only as good as who opens it and takes action. So,
Yeah.
if I were to open your book, and when I open your book, I can't wait to get my signed copy, Tracy, because
Yes,
when I
absolutely.
see you, I'll get you to sign my copy. But
Yeah.
what's in there? What's the goodies that we could digest?
Well, the book is really for leaders, and it could be corporate leaders. It could be, really we're the leaders of our lives. So improv is great for everyone. It has a particular focus on leaders, and leaders are, trying to build teams and a camaraderie in teams and a trust among,
Mm.
team members. And improv really helps you, achieve one of the main things that's coming forward is a skill that you'd be surprised is this big skill we're working on is active listening.
Ooh, yes.
Active listening is the number one area that people really have a challenge with. And the thing about improv is it's the exercises are the teachers, and I think it's a good
Mm.
moment for us to do a little active listening exercise maybe and show
Okay,
listeners improv in action, because that's
let's do
improv
it.
really about doing the exercises.
And
And
I love this, because I do know that people think that they're good listeners, but they don't actually realize that it's not being a good listener, it's being an active listener that's most important. So if you have something that can actually demonstrate that, oh, let's do it.
yeah, it's really simple, and the reason I like this exercise, it's called last word response,
Okay.
is it's the kind of exercise that you can do anytime. And
Okay.
you can remember it easily. And so for your listeners, I'm thinking, you could take this away and do this with your friends, your colleagues. And the other thing I love what you just said, because often when people are listening, they're really thinking of their response. They're thinking of the thing they're going to say.
It's
And what
happening to me right now, Tracy. I'm thinking, what is she going to ask me? What's the last word? How do I respond? How do I make sure I don't look stupid? It's happening to me right now. So, if
I love
you
it.
have ever been in a situation like this, to all of our listeners, no, all of us go through the same thing. Our brain activates all of these thoughts. And really, what we're inviting you to do is just take a
Yeah.
moment, take a breath, and just be playful. So, okay, I'm ready to
Yeah,
do
yeah. Okay, we're
last
gonna do it. We
word.
can do it. All right, all right. Okay, so here's how it goes. I'm gonna say a sentence, and we don't have to make sense. We don't have to worry about telling a story here. I'm
Okay.
gonna say a sentence, and you're going to start your sentence with the last word that I say.
The last
All
word.
right, and
Okay.
then I'm gonna start my next sentence with the last word that you say.
Ooh,
All right.
okay.
So
Okay.
we're just gonna try this out. Um, Today is a beautiful day to go walking.
Walking is amazing because it gets me places.
Places are interesting in Toronto because, I can go and travel.
Travel is what I live for, and I can't wait to go on my next trip.
Trip is an interesting word because planning the trip is part of the fun.
Fun is something I want to do every single day of my life till I die.
Yay! Okay, so you can
Okay, that
see,
was easy. Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. We're going to
yeah,
celebrate. That was okay.
it's
That was
celebrate.
super easy and it was super fun. And you have to be listening, because I'm waiting to see what that last word is going to be, so that I can actually be as quick as possible to come up with a story that goes with it. So I think that's a great sort of introduction, Tracy. What
Yeah.
are some of the other benefits that you see when you see people go through these exercises?
Okay, so the foundational improv principle is called yes and, right? So through all the exercises that we do in improv, we're always yes anding each other. Okay.
Mm,
So we were just yes anding through that simple exercise. And just as you said, you can't be anywhere else except in the present moment because you have to listen to that last word.
yeah.
So effectively, you're training your brain.
Yes.
to listen. You're training your brain to be present. There's a calming effect. And as team members, when we get into yes and exercises, and there are deeper exercises and so forth, then you learn kind of in this world where we're polarized, you learn to give and receive. You learn that to suspend judgment of another person. You agree, I'm going to hear you. I'm going to have respect for what you're saying. We don't have to agree, and that's okay.
Right.
And we're going to set aside this idea that I'm right. We're going to set aside this idea that, I'm not really listening to you. I have my opinion. Instead, we're going to collaborate and have a back and forth. And you can imagine how this opens up teams for this. I've got your back.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, those things that you just mentioned, trust, collaboration, listening, feeling heard, because that's another missing component in leadership right now, is making sure that the people around us feel heard. And if someone says your last word, then they know that they've been heard and seen, which is a powerful gift that we're not giving freely. I think that's what my observations are. I don't know, Tracy, if you've got some similar observations, or also, some other ways that we can have people be seen and heard or feel that way especially in the workplace. And especially when we're online, right? Not everybody is in the office, they're online, but that does not limit us from still having that yes mentality. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, improv is great for divergent thinking. And what divergent thinking does is it allows you to brainstorm, and divergent thinking is when you're saying all ideas are good ideas. So you might have a session, an improv session, if you will, where everyone's idea is a great idea. There's no on the table here. It's all yes for the moment of hearing everyone, as you said. So it's, in an organization, you could be, everyone's together, all the ideas are coming forward, and studies actually show that the more ideas you have, that's how you get to the good ideas. So you don't want to shut anyone down. You want to say, we're everyone's idea, say them. Your idea could, trigger someone else's idea. And then you would apply later, after you've got all the ideas on the table, convergent thinking, where you narrow them down. Right. to the top ideas. And a lot of people, a lot of organizations, leaders, they skip to the convergent thinking quickly. And they say no to a lot of things, right? And they just go right into, we're just going with this. And you might miss a lot of opportunity. And then, just as you said, people don't feel heard.
Right.
They don't feel like they've had a say or a voice. So improv is great for brainstorming.
Now, do leaders need to take an improv course before they can actually do these things with their team? What would be your advice as like step one to elevate your skills in this area?
Well, basically, we have our company, Yes Unlimited, and we go right into organizations and work with teams and leaders. So we customize our programs to their objectives. And the top reason people come to us is team building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Team building.
And so, so we create programs and come in and customize them and do them specifically to help with where organizations are at in terms of their values, in terms of how they want to relay their communication and creativity skills throughout the company, which is so important.
So important. Yeah. So if anyone's looking to learn more about Tracy, you can find her on LinkedIn, but you can also go to her website, yesunlimited.ca. This is where you can check out the courses. You can check out, I know you do online workshops. I know that you have live events that people can go to. So if you follow Tracy, you're going to know what's going on. And you might even see the two of us there doing some improv together, because that is in our future. So that is coming for sure. So, for everyone listening out there, I think this is Tracy, it's opened my eyes for some of the things that sometimes we take for granted. We take for granted communication. We take for granted that people are, hearing us and that we're being heard, and also that we're inviting a conversation. So I'm going to do the call to action for everyone today to not only celebrate, because it's Celebration Friday, but also to, look at, are you active listening, and what's a playful way that you can demonstrate that? And that last word exercise, if you're at home this weekend with the kids, play it with them, practice there. If you've got a team meeting coming up on Monday or Tuesday, or even today, try it on there and see what comes up. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised the energy that it activates in everyone around you. And it doesn't take long. We did it for less than a minute. So, add a few more people, and it's less than a 5-minute exercise, but extremely, extremely powerful. So that is my call to action. Tracy, anything you want to add that people can think about as they do this process?
Yes. One of the great things about improv is it's all about overcoming fear of failure, which is a big one. Perfectionism, this idea that you have to get it right. So the last thing I would say is just, embrace not getting it right. And that's how we learn. That's how we grow, right? And improv is really about overcoming that fear and saying yes, and we're in it together, and we're gonna build camaraderie and support one another.
Fantastic. So Tracy, thank you so much for being on the Say Yes Movement podcast. Thank you for the extremely generous gift of giving our listeners a link to your digital book. I know it's a labor of love. So you'll have all of those links shortly when we get the posting up. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Everyone have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.